Alexa, off. All right, let's just give it a second for some people to get on here. Make sure I have everything. Whew. Set up. All right, that looks good. All right. Give everybody a second to get on. All right, let's see. I want to lock that. I do not want to move it. Okay. There we go. All right, I think we are live now on Facebook and we are live on YouTube. I hope I'm live on YouTube. It looks like I am. Let me just check and make sure that it is working on YouTube real quick. See how that's going. All right, it looks like I am live on YouTube as well. All right, I think we got everything up and running. So today, I'll give everybody a couple minutes to get on here. We are going to be making a couple Halloween projects. So this is the last month of celebration. from the Celebration catalog, July 1st through the 31st. So with any $50 order, you can pick something from the Celebration catalog free. And we also have, so the only thing that is not available anymore is the tree lot dies. Those are discontinued. We sold out. So that's the only thing that is not available in there. But we also have, in addition to, we have some embossing folders that you can earn free, some dies that you can earn, some foil paper. Look at those aspen tree dies. Those are in the main catalog. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So those would be something you might be interested in earning free. And the $50 order can come from either the July through December 22 catalog, or from the May through April 2023 catalog. Either one in a culmination of $50. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set that stuff aside. I will try and watch for comments. So if you are commenting, oh, I see Darcy has commented. Hey, Darcy, glad you're here. All right, so let's go ahead and set those catalogs aside. So first off, we made this cute card. It does fold flat, fits in a nice standard A2 size envelope. Welcome, Tanya. So glad you're back this month. And then it pops out like that. And then you have this cute white back to write your greeting or a special message to a special friend. So that's that card. And then the second project that we're doing today is this adorable little box. Now when I untie the ribbon, I can open it up. And inside, I have 2 Ghirardelli chocolates. So those fit nicely in there. Go ahead and close that box back up. This flap will fit right behind. And then we'll tie it closed. So this is 13 inches of ribbon, and I am able to tie it and retie it. So that should be enough for anybody. Oh, my dogs are barking. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So we'll just have to give them a second to calm down. All right, we're going to start with, first things first, we're going to do the little box. So with the little box, you're going to need, you have 2 of these pieces, but I only have, well, I have 2, but I'm going to have to cut one because I don't think I have enough paper to do that. I can look through my stash here. And then what else do we need? We need the hat that is punched from the hat punch, and I have some stars that also come from that punch. And then we have a label that is in Parakeet Party, and I have a pre-stamped tag with Gorgeous Grape. Let me go grab that punch so you can see it. All right, here is that punch, and you can see it punches out the hat, 3 stars, and a hat band. We're not using the hat band from the punch, so you won't need that. And first I'm going to go ahead and set all of my goodies aside, and I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and we're going to score this purple paper. Gorgeous Grape cardstock. All right, so here we are. I can't even, my video, I hope everything is going well on my video, because I really can't see anything. Looks like we have quite a bit of a delay, so I guess I will just not worry about it and we'll just get to going. All right, so first we need to cut down our cardstock. Dang it, I left my cutter. I'm going to need my cutter first. So we need to cut down our cardstock, and this piece is going to measure 4 1/4 by 7 3/4. I'm going to put this at the 4 1/4. And then save that scrap. And then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to cut it at 7 3/4. Okay? And that's all the cutting on that for now. Now I'm going to go ahead and score it. So with the 7 3/4 on the landscape side, all right, we are going to score it first at 5/8 of an inch, and then we are going to score it at 3 5/8, 4 1/4, and 7 1/4. Okay, again, those are 5/8, 3 5/8, 4 1/4, and 7 1/4. Then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to score it at 5/8 again, 2 5/8, and 3 1/4. Okay. And that's all the scoring I will be doing on that piece. Now I have my sample here so that I can make sure. It's kind of wonky, but that's okay. I want to make sure that I cut it correctly. So I'll set my sample right above it. And I'm going to go ahead. So when I have my piece laying like this end is a 1/2 inch, and this end is like 3 5/8 of an inch, I believe. So the 3 5/8 inch, or the 5/8 side, is going to be on the left, and the 1/2 inch, I guess it's a little bit less than 1/2 inch, okay, so the score marks are 5/8 of an inch. If you have this on the landscape side, this is 5/8. This one is 3 5/8, 4 1/4, and then 7 1/4. And then you'll rotate it and you'll score it at 5/8 again, 2 5/8, and 3 1/4. And this piece measures 4 1/4 by 7 3/4. So this end should be about a 1/2 inch. All right, so when I cut this, I have my smaller side on this side and my bigger side here. And then I have 2 score marks going across the top at the top. And I only have 1 down here at the bottom. So if I fold that, I'll fold that so it shows up better on camera. So there's 1 score mark, 2 score marks, 3 score marks, okay? All right, so I've marked all of that. Okay, everything's folded. Hopefully you can see those fold lines. And I'm going to take a second here and I'm going to put X's on all of the boxes that we're going to cut out. Okay, so this box here, this corner box is going to be removed. This box and this box will be removed as well. Then this top box will be removed. We'll keep this little one. Both of these middle boxes here on this side. And then this top box here will be removed. So I hope that you can see all of those boxes that we're going to be cutting off, but I'll go step by step. We're going to start with this first box. I'm going to cut up to the first score line, and then I'm going to cut that corner out. Okay? Then I'm going to cut these 2 boxes off. I'm going to cut up to the first score line, and then I'm going to rotate and I'm going to cut to the second score line to cut those 2 boxes off. So that's what your paper should look like now. While I'm here, I'm going to angle cut. So I'm just going to snip a little wedge off of both ends of this flap. Okay? And that'll just help it to fit nicer inside the box. All right, now I'm going to cut up to the score line on this line and this line, and then I'm going to wedge that small little piece so it fits nicer in the box. So when we wedge, we just are taking a small little sliver, so it looks just like that. And then I'm going to go to this last end box and I'm going to wedge it as well. Okay? All right. So that's what it looks like so far. Now I'm going to rotate my paper because it's easier to cut from the bottom up. And on this first score mark, I'm going to, even though I'm only removing this 1 X, I'm still going to cut to the second score line. All the way up. And then I'm going to do it on the other side too. And now I'm going to cut this little square off on the score mark. And I can now wedge this little flap, just like I did on the one that's opposite it. Okay? All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing on this end here. I'm going to cut to the second score mark, and then I'm going to trim off that top box just like that, and I'm going to wedge flat. Okay, so I still have these 2 boxes. I'm going to be removing them in just a second. I just wanted to give everybody a chance to catch up. Now I'm going to fold all of these flaps down, and I'm going to cut all the way across on that score mark and cut that piece off. Okay, so that's what your paper should look like now. Okay, next I'm going to corner round these. If you don't have a corner rounder, that's fine. But if you do, I'm going to corner round this top corner. Yeah, that's kind of chompy. Didn't really like that one very much. Then I'm going to corner around this one, just like that. I'm going to trim this real quick. Because while it's flat, I'm going to glue all of my pieces on. So you have a skinny piece like this and like this. And this one measures 2 3/4 by 3/4. And we're going to just glue it right onto this flap. And then your other piece, you should have 2 of these ones, and these ones measure 2 3/4 by 1 3/4. I only have one. I'm only going to do one. I'll go back and add one later, but that one is going to go on. Your pieces will go on this side and right here. Okay? All right, now I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to close my box. So basically it's going to look just like this. Okay? So on this flap here, I'm going to put some tear and tape. If I can find my roll of tear and tape. I have some score tape, so I'll just use that, and it'll work just fine. You could also use liquid glue on this. I'm just using a dry adhesive because it will stick together quicker. I'm also going to use a liquid adhesive because I really don't want my box to fall apart. So we're going to double up on that. And so this flap is going to go in here, and I'm just going to line up with this edge right like that. There we go. Now, since this is the front of my box, so when I close my box, so this is the front, I want this flap here to have the glue on it. So I'm going to fold these down. Now I'm going to put my glue on that flap, and I'm going to simply close it just like that. Now I'm going to use my bone folder to kind of give it a push down in there, just like that. Okay, and I'm going to throw my couple chocolates in there. I did not ship the chocolates with the kits because of the heat. I did not want them to melt, so my apologies. All right, now I'm going to just take my ribbon, and you can literally tie your bow anywhere you want, and then just slide it to position it where you want it. Okay, so I'm just going to tie my bow right here in the middle, just because it's a nice solid surface in the middle. And I'm going to, there we go. Trim my ribbon just a little bit, but not too much, because you want the recipient to be able to tie that bow back if they wanted to. And now I'm going to put my bow towards the top. All right. How are we doing so far? Lisa, I will always tie your bow for you. All right, I'm going to take a couple dimensionals and I'm going to put one on each side of the ribbon towards the bottom because I don't want this top piece here to run into my foam tape and get stuck. So I'm going to take this, and remember there is a front and a back to your die cut. This one, the stitching gives a nice detail, but it's not so nice looking on the back. So make sure that you have that pointed towards the back. And now I'm just going to stick that down right in the center, and it is good to go. Now I have my witch's hat, and I'm going to take my purple and green, orange and green. So I am using dark pumpkin pie, and I will use dark parakeet party. And I'm just going to use the bullet tip. And then I'm going to just randomly color some of these circles or polka dots. Okay. Then I'm going to take my dark pumpkin pie and I'm going to finish coloring and finish my dots. All right. And take a piece of black twine. And I'm just going to put it on my, and this tag was cut with the Tiny Tags Trio. I think, or no, maybe that's not what it's called. Terrific Tags. I don't know. I absolutely love them. I'll have to look up and see what they're called. They are in the annual catalog if you're looking for them, and you can find them in the dies section. All right, so I have that trimmed. I'm gonna go ahead and trim that off because it's just for looks basically. All right, so now I want to put these two on here. And of course I want them all to fit. So I'm going to put two. I don't want my tag to fall off. And I'm going to stick my tag right there. And I'm going to put a couple on the back of my hat. One more here. And my hat is going to go just like that. Okay. Now I have a few stars. The punch punches out 3 stars. So I do have a few extra here because, I'm likely to lose one. And I'm going to color those stars with the pale or the parakeet party. I'm going to color one in the green to match my project. And then I'm going to color 2 in the pumpkin pie. Just like so. Okay. And then I'm going to add a dot of blue there, and there, and there, so that I am able to put my star. So let me grab my take your pick tool, and that will stick right there, and that's it. First project is done. Okay, looks just like that. So cute. How cute would these be to give as little treat gifts for your coworkers? And of course, you could decorate them really with anything. The idea that I saw used the little Scotty dog and had some Christmas stuff. So that totally works. The little Scotty dog would fit right on the front of that as well. And the box measures a little over 3 inches by 2 inches. So it's a 3 by 2 inch box. Totally cute. I do plan on making a pile of those for Christmas or Halloween, because I love, love, love Halloween. All right, the next card we're going to make is this little card, and I'm going to just set it up here, and we're going to go through what pieces you should have. So here are the 2 sets that we are using: Best Switches and Bewitching Bundle. Okay. And so here I have my pieces, and I know that I am missing a piece, so I'm going to cut that real quick. All right, so go ahead and set these to the side, and we'll get started on what you should have in your packet. So you should have 2 black pieces. One is a standard 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece. This is for the main part of your card. And then this piece measures 4.25 by 4 inches. Then I have a piece for the back that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. I have a piece of DSP. This is from the Gingham Cottage. Oh my gosh, the best paper ever. It is so versatile and usable for anything. And this one measures 4 by 5 1/4. And I have a strip of DSP that measures 1.25 inches by 5 1/4. And then I have this piece here that measures 2.5 by 3.5. And this white piece for stamping. All right, so first I'm going to do my stamping and coloring. Set those to the side. Here are my markers that I used. Let me grab. I'm missing my black, so let me grab my black real quick. My black and brown. All right, so I have Flirty Flamingo for the cheeks. I used dark shaded spruce for the polka dots on my witch's dress. I have Parakeet Party, dark and light. I have Highland Heather, dark and light. I have Pumpkin Pie, dark and light. I have SU 900 for my skin tone. I have a Retired Cinnamon Cider, but you could really use any brown for the logs on the fire for her cauldron. And then I have dark and light black. So those are the colors I will be using to color with. All right, so first I'm going to stamp on this cute little witch with the cauldron. I'm going to go ahead and ink her up. And I need one of her. And then I will need 2 frogs. I don't like that one, so I'm going to stamp another one. That's a little better. And then on my other white piece, since I'm going to be coloring, I use the other witch holding the broom. And I put her in the bottom left-hand corner. Perfect. Set those, and then I have a couple sentiments here. So first I stamped my "You've Put a Spell on Me" in Gorgeous Grape. There we go. And then I randomly stamped stars on the background of this piece. But I didn't really want the stars to be over the words, so there we go. And I'll set that aside so that it can dry as well. All right, so that should be all of our stamping. So let's go ahead and start coloring. I'm going to start with my dark Parakeet Party, and I'm going to color just the edges where you would see a shadow. Under her arms, under her chin, okay? Just like that. Now I'm going to take my light Parakeet Party, and I'm just going to color the rest of it in. A little squeaky. All right. Now I'm also going to color in my frogs because they are the same color, and I put some shadows in the crease of his hind legs, his mouth, and the bottom of his belly. And then just some quick and dirty coloring. There we go. And grab his little eyes. And he is all done. Now I'm going to take my shaded spruce, and I'm just going to add a few polka dots to her dress and to her belt on her hat. Make a couple bigger. They don't have to be perfect, but there we go. I think she is just adorable. Oh, and before I put the Parakeet Party, I'm going to color in my little dots of potion coming out of that cauldron. Okay. I don't think I had any green on, oh, I had green legs on the other one. So let's go ahead and we'll take the green there and there. Now I'm going to take the Highland Heather, and I'm going to take the dark, and I'm going to use the bullet tip, and I just trace over the hair on that one. And then this little girl, she had a purple dress, so I'm going to add some purple to her. And some light Highland Heather. One thing with the Stampin' Blends is that you need to let each layer kind of dry a little bit in between because they are so saturated with alcohol. If you go in too fast, they tend to bleed. So they're not, that's the big difference I've noticed between Stampin' Blends and Copics. And I really only use my Stampin' Blends for my videos and my projects for Stampin' Up. So there we go. So you need to really give them some time to breathe in between layers. Otherwise, they tend to really bleed out, and you won't be happy with your project. It'll bleed out of the lines. All right, so I think we're done with purple. Now I have light pumpkin pie I'm going to do for the belt or the buckle. Here we go. And then I'll do this buckle. My cinnamon cider or any brown, my logs, and my broom handle. And that light pumpkin pie was also the color for my bristles on my broom and her hair. Yep. All right, now I'm going to do her face, and I'm going to take the light Flirty Flamingo, and when you do cheeks, you really want to do those first because you'll be able to blend them out a little bit as you're coloring. So now I'm going to take my SU 900, go right over those cheeks again so they'll blend out, and then I'll just color the rest of her face. Just like that. Over the cheeks, over the cheeks. There we go. And then don't forget her little hands on both of them. There we go. See how that pink just kind of blends out so that's not so harsh and gives her those cute little rosy cheeks. Now I'm going to do my flames. I'm doing the first layer in light pumpkin pie. Then I'm going to take the brush tip and I'm just going to add some dark tips at the top of my flames just to give them a little dimension. There we are. So the last color I have left is black. And I have the dark and the light. I'm going to take the dark. I'm going to do her legs. This witch's legs in dark black. And then on the cauldron, I'm going to go up between the flames, around the flames, and on the sides. And then with her hat, I'll go underneath the belt and on both edges. And then up on this side and right there. Now I'm going to start on the light black because I've given the cauldron a little time to dry. And I'm just going to color it the rest in. Oh, I just love this witch. She's just too cute. And then I just colored the rest of her cape in the light black. I didn't do any shading with that. On to the second witch. I'm going to just color her cape that is showing here just in the light black. There we are. I am going to do the underside of her hat in the dark black. And then I'm going to do the rest of her hat in the light. If you don't have multiple shades of a marker like the Stampin' Blends, and you wanted to create that shadow, you could just put more layers of ink where you wanted it darker. Because ultimately, as you build up your layers, you will get a darker look. All right, so I'm also going to add a frame around this white piece. If you are not comfortable or you are not okay with lines that are not perfectly straight, go ahead and use your ruler. I am okay with my lines not being perfectly straight. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quickly fussy cut this witch and my two frogs. And then we'll go ahead and we'll get started on assembling the card. So that way when the card is assembled, all we have to do is literally glue all this cute stuff on. Now remember, when you are cutting, you move the paper. Your scissors don't really move. Now I am not going to save the eyebrows on my little frog. And I'll show you how I'm going to fix that problem when I put him onto my cards. I just trimmed my little eyebrows off. And then I'm going to go ahead. I just have to go back here and go around those eyes a little bit better. So that's my first frog. And I'm going to just stamp him right here. Okay, now he has his little eyebrows back, and I'm going to take a piece of foam squares. Of course, I have now actually lost my foam squares. Can you believe that? I haven't even moved off of my table. They're here somewhere. They're under something. But I have another pack right here. I'm going to put a little dimensional, and then I'm going to stick my frog right over the top so you can still see his little eyebrows right there. All right, so that piece is assembled. Cut out my other frog. So I know that not everybody is back to school. I know my friend Tanya in New Mexico is going back to school, and she teaches 4th grade in Carlsbad, New Mexico. You know, these witches would definitely go with her Harry Potter theme. What is the witch's name I'm trying to think of? She's head of McGonagall. See, this could be a young Miss McGonagall. So there's that cute little frog, and I'm going to just stick him right where he goes because I don't want to lose him. I'm going to stamp him. He's going to go right there. You can't even see his eyebrows, so I guess that didn't even matter. And now I'm going to pop him up right over the top. So there, he's glued down into his home. Now for the witch. Now you can cut this. If you had a scan and cut, you could definitely cut this out on the scan and cut. If I were going to do this in mass production, I definitely would have cut these on the scan and cut. And if I do make more of these, I will cut it on the scan and cut because unfortunately there are no dies with this cuteness. I just absolutely love Halloween, and I love the witch sets, all things Halloween. I even love, look at this washi tape. Glittery Halloween washi tape. Isn't that gorgeous? We didn't use any on this card, but I will be using them on my personal cards. And I'll be developing a class for the retreat I'm putting on. And we will be using the washi tape on that as well. Been thinking about it. I haven't designed it yet, but I've been thinking about it. All right, there is our little witch, and I'm going to pop her up on this piece as well, and then this piece will be all ready to assemble or to add to the front of my card panel when I get the rest of the card made. All right. You put a spell on me. I have right like that. All right, so that piece is done. So I'm going to grab my piece here, my black, and set these pieces to the side over here, and I am going to do some scoring. I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and I'm going to put this on the 8.5-inch side across the top. And I'm going to score first at 4 1/4, at 5 inches, at 6 1/2, and at 7 1/4. Okay, those measurements again were 4 1/4, 5, 6 1/2, and 7 1/4. I'm also going to grab my other black piece because that one has to be scored as well. Now remember, this piece here measures 4 inches by 4 1/4. And so on the 4 1/4 inch side, so the 4 1/4 is along the top, I want to score at 1/2 and at 1 1/4. So 4 1/4 across the top, I scored at 1/2 and at 1 1/4. All right, so we'll go ahead and fold those on the score marks and burnish them with your bone folder. Just like that. All right. So essentially this piece is going to wrap around and glue like that. But let me show you how to do it first. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to glue this piece on while my card is still super flat. Okay? Line that up on that section. There should be a nice black border. Now I'm going to flip it over. And this piece of DSP is going to glue right here in this top portion as well. I think I told you the measurement wrong on this piece. I think this one is actually 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Because I notice my border is slightly less than the other side. Okay? So that's what that side looks like. I'm going to flip it back over, and this other pattern strip, DSP, goes right there. Hey, Cindy. Sorry, Tanya. It's okay. That's why it's recorded, and you can pause it and go as fast or as slow as you absolutely need to. All right. So the back side looks like this when we have all the pieces glued on, and the front side looks like this. So the first thing I'm going to do before I glue anything is I'm going to fold 2 sections here. I'm going to just lay them flat. Fold them over, lay them flat. I'm going to put glue on the top section above. So I have 2 score marks here, 1 line here. I only want my glue there, and then I'm going to flip the card over and let it lay flat. Okay? I'm doing it this way because I want my card to always be able to fit into my envelope, and I want it to fold correctly. So I held it for a second, so now I can pop it out, and you see it pops out just nicely, and it will fold flat nicely. And it'll float, you know. So there we go. So now it'll stand just like that. With my second piece, I have the main section, and then I have my 2 scored sections. I'm going to lay them flat, pinch them closed, okay? I'm going to put glue on the skinny section of the scored end and the bottom, okay? I want glue in both of those spots. So if I squeeze this down, everything is laying flat. I can center that piece just how I want it. Everything is flat. Give it a second to dry. Then now I have my 2 sections, okay? So I have a double step. That's all there is to it. And then my last piece here, I'm going to glue right on to that black piece that I just put on the front. And it's so nice because I can hold everything flat and push it down. There we are. That is our second card. So there is the original and the one we just made. So our projects for today, we made a card and the little box. I hope you enjoyed our projects for this month, and I look forward to creating for you for next month. Please let me know if there are any questions, concerns. I am here for you. Thanks, Lisa. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cindy, you jumped on right at the end, but now you can go back and watch it at your own pace. All right, guys, have a wonderful day and have an incredible week. Bye-bye.